Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Hakem. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. And boy, am I glad you've joined us today. Not only do we have a lot to cover, New York State issues abound, but we're also going to hear from Drumline Live through the cast members of, I think they said 30 plus cast members. Drumline Live will be at the Clemens Center coming up on February 11th, so that'll be in the 7 o'clock hour. First off, I forgot. Where was the one? Here we go. Comment from a viewer. Mark writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. President Trump launched his new prescription drug site, Trump RX, and the Dems are demanding a lot of changes how ICE works, and Trump's not buying it. You're right. I got a couple updates on a few of those. Well, one of those. Another comment from a viewer that came in after yesterday's broadcast. You know, Frank, the viewer that wrote in and said it must be hard for Rick to watch your show, being that he is obviously a misled person, opened my eyes in spite of all my previous criticisms and comments about him, which you never read. I now have the notion that at least he is seeking out the full, factual truths concerning the state of politics, unlike many other mindless Democrats, of which I now believe Rick is not one of them. Thank you very much. That was in reference to a comment Rick made yesterday, I believe. Okay, a couple of quick, I guess you could say, sports, but not really. Kind of the sports on the peripheral. This is, I think you're going to enjoy this. Citizens for Affordable Rates. It's a group called CAR. They're launching a new 7-figure statewide television and digital ad campaign, which will have spots airing during the Super Bowl broadcast, calling attention to New York's crushing car insurance costs and urging state lawmakers to act now to make coverage more affordable for families across the state. Now, what's interesting about the ad, they kind of get your attention that they are disappointed with the bills, and they look like they're wearing kind of generic Bills outfits. The ad highlights, where is it here? CAR spokesman James Friedland said New Yorkers are already paying too much for housing, grocery, and energy. They shouldn't be paying double the national average just to insure their cars. Governor Hochul has put forward a serious plan to lower auto insurance rates, but special interests in Albany are fighting like heck to protect the status quo. Lawmakers need to stand with New York consumers, not with those who profit from fraud schemes. Now, the script for the spot called Bills is, we get it. People are frustrated with the bills. We're talking, of course, about New York's crushing car insurance bills, among the highest in the nation. There you go. Anyway, you may see that during the Super Bowl. Now, Carolyn Levitt, who is just a stone cold killer sometimes at these press conferences, or whatever the official term is, she revealed which Super Bowl halftime show President Trump prefers to watch this Sunday, because we know we have the Bad Bunny performance, but we also have, which is the official performance, but we also have Turning Point USA putting together quite a, star-studded lineup. Concerns among conservatives over Bad Bunny's apparent woke values inspired Turning Point USA to plan its own All-American halftime for Sunday, headlined by Kid Rock. Levitt said, I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny. I must say that. The president has wisely chosen not to make a prediction also on Sunday night's game, but as a native girl from New Hampshire, go Patriots, Carolyn Levitt said. Now, in the past, you may recall just the other day, Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, addressed questions and concerns about Bad Bunny's performance, saying, listen, Bad Bunny is, and I think that was demonstrated last night, one of the greatest artists in the world. He was referencing the Grammy Awards, where he was very, for lack of a better term, woke. And that's one of the reasons we chose him. But the other reason is he understood the platform he was on, and this platform is used to unite people and to be able to bring people together with their creativity, with their talents, and to be able to use this moment to do that. And I think artists in the past have done that. I think Bad Bunny understands that, and I think he'll have a great performance. The question is whether or not he will get woke in his ceremony, in his performance is a better word for it. We will see. Speaking of that, well, we talked about it yesterday and the day before. The Grammys were very political, as we know. I don't want to keep talking about the Grammys, but this ties in because Bad Bunny was very political at the Grammys. You also had yesterday a great piece by Miranda Devine highlighting how Supreme Court Justice Jackson should recuse herself from immigration cases because she was clapping and laughing at the anti-ICE rhetoric. Well, now Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee is urging U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts to launch an investigation into Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson over her attendance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Jackson was in attendance because she was nominated for narrating the audiobook version of her memoir, Lovely One. Yes, you will never hear a conservative being nominated for a Grammy, but it happens with everybody on the left that puts out a book, whether it's they get it for the book, whether they get it for the audiobook, the book meaning different awards in the Grammys. But if they put out the audiobook, they will no doubt receive a nomination. This is Blackburn in her letter to Roberts saying, while it is by no means unheard of or unusual for a Supreme Court justice to attend a public function, very rarely, if ever, have justices of our nation's highest court been present at an event at which attendees have amplified such far-left rhetoric. Blackburn, who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee, called for an investigation into whether Jackson's actions violate the High Court's code of conduct and would require her to recuse herself for certain cases. And we know that has been a tactic of the left for a very long time, to demand certain justices, yes, my chair is sinking, demand certain justices recuse themselves, the conservative justices, for what some perceived slight. Yep, my chair, I'm a little low. We'll get that fixed at the next break. The letter states, to that end, in the interest of a fair-minded, impartial, and independent federal judiciary, I urge you to initiate an investigation into Justice Jackson's attendance at this event, and if her participation in any way would require recusal from matters that will come before the court. So we will keep an eye on that. But in her letter, Blackburn noted that Democrats and the news media have smeared Republican-appointed justices to the court as corrupt and partisan. She recalled how Senators Dick Durbin and Sheldon Whitehouse wrote a letter to Roberts urging him to ensure that conservative Justice Samuel Alito would recuse himself from the case related to the 2020 election and January 6, 2021 Capitol riot because his wife put up a Revolutionary War-era flag at her home. Quote, unlike these meritless claims against Justice Alito and Justice Thomas, there are serious questions regarding Justice Jackson's participation in such a brazenly political anti-law enforcement event and her ability to remain an impartial member of the Supreme Court. Okay. Also, quickly, hey, look at that roof cam. All right, I had to lift up my seat, or I wasn't going to be able to pay attention. I also wanted to mention, just for your own personal note, today would have been Ronald Reagan's 115th birthday, born back in 1911. President Ronald Reagan's birthday is today, just to make a note of that. Also, if you want to make your predictions for Sunday, feel free. I'd like to know if you have any feelings on it whatsoever, if you'll be watching. I know a lot of people have kind of given up on the NFL, especially with the politicalization, because I think Bad Bunny's bad at halftime. But boy, the fact that they put Green Day, who has been so anti-Trump, so anti-conservative throughout the years, I think that sends a message as well. Now, we've heard over and over again that Melania in the media, Melania, the documentary, was maybe the worst movie ever made. That now Jimmy Kimmel, I guess, is pushing a conspiracy that the Trumps or somebody conservative bought a bunch of tickets to inflate the numbers. There's been just constant badgering of the movie. Now, keep in mind, normally a first lady receives a lot of great attention if they have a D next to their name. So you'll see them on the front covers of magazines. But yeah, here is a former model who does not appear on the front of magazines and is roundly criticized for her documentary. Now, that is negative publicity that they had to fight against, and yet her numbers are still very high. And I do think, I mean, the best documentary opening in decades. She had a big Monday and a big Wednesday, I understand. They're even adding theaters. And a lot of it, to the point I've tried to make in the past, I think a lot of it was just to eventually get it to Amazon Prime as just a great offering that they give to their users. But the film Melania, according to Carol Markowitz, made nearly $8 million on its opening weekend, making it the highest grossing documentary in a decade. It's a huge win for the First Lady and a crushing defeat for those rooting against her. The film is a soft-focused look at Melania Trump's life as First Lady, offering a glossy, feel-good glance into what people normally don't get to see inside the private First Lady's life. Still, it wouldn't have mattered what was in the film. The media would have hated it anyway. The reviews in the mainstream press aren't so much scathing as just outright personal. Variety called the film a cheeseball infomercial of staggering inertia. Wow. The Guardian noted it was dispiriting, deadly, and unrevealing, and unredeemable. In the film, it's true we see Melania in her beautiful outfits and flawless makeup, but we also see her as a woman behind the man. And she goes and talks about certain scenes, and I don't think we need to go through all that. But on review site Rotten Tomatoes, the film Melania is setting another kind of record. The largest discrepancy between the scores of film reviewers and film goers in the site's history. It makes sense, since most of the reviewers went into the film with a rating in mind, whether or not they actually enjoyed the movie. The people who spent their money to go watch their First Lady on the screen were going to be more honest, even if some were swayed by their enthusiasm for the president. The media has 3 more years of the Trump administration and Melania Trump. They can stop having outbursts about the First Lady and give her a fair hearing, something more than half of the country would commend. Or they can continue to descend into irrelevance. As everyone knows, even their panning of a film will be political. The choice is theirs. We know what their choice will be, Carolyn Markowitz, that unfortunately they're going to continue. And that's why you see the Washington Post, all these huge layoffs, because they are going in, not in good faith, but from a biased perspective. If they went and saw the movie at all before they reviewed it, they already were going to give it an F rating. We know that because everything is biased. Whether we talk about the Grammys nominating Justice Jackson for that audiobook, whether it's, well, we can go through academia, pop culture. But we've got a couple of other announcements that happened yesterday. Big news coming out of New York. Zohran Mamdani did, in fact, endorse Governor Hochul. The Democrats, Socialists of America aren't happy because another endorsement for Hochul, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Socialists are how do you want to say it, are being politicized. They're losing their revolutionary bona fides. And there are a lot in the DSA that are not happy about it. We're going to talk about that. Also, what else? Yeah, no sense killing time. We'll get to it when we return and reading your comments. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Hi, this is Tom with owner of Hustlesin's in Amara Heights. At Hustlesin's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hustlesin's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new expanded showroom. Come in today and see why Onan Sauna is the start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hustlesin's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hustlesin's.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world.
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
You drive.
Kyle just made a decision
New
that would
CancerGuard
change
from the
his
makers
whole
of
world.
Cologuard.
Drive
Knowing
sober
means
or
everything.
get pulled over.
Did you know CancerGuard can help screen for multiple cancers?
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
New New Cancer Guard from the makers of Cologuard. Knowing means everything.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today. That's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow. Turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Let's go to some viewer comments. Let's get a petition going to get Goodell fired from the NFL. I believe there have been petitions in the past, and you see how he is treated at the NFL draft. You could say not warmly. We'll put it that way. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. After I saw your interview with Ali Mazi, I decided to go and see Good Witch, Bad Witch at the Clemens Center last night. Oh, that's wonderful. It was a great show and would recommend it to everyone. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that the interview swayed you. That was a fun interview. I really enjoyed that. So thank you for the nice comment. Trump announced yesterday that a massive prayer event will be held on the National Mall this coming May, declaring it is time to, quote, rededicate America as one nation under God. As the nation, of course, celebrates its 250th birthday this year. Trump revealed this at the National Prayer Breakfast, which we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. This morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, to rededicate America as one nation under God, said President Trump. He did not specify why May 17th was selected. However, shortly before the Declaration of Independence, the Colonial Congress had declared May 17th, 1776, a national day of fasting and prayer. So I have a feeling that probably is related. But May 17th also comes a few days after multiple Christian denominations celebrate the Feast of the Ascension of Jesus Christ. Trump also revealed that the Department of Education will be taking steps to protect prayer in public schools, saying, I'm so pleased to announce that the Department of Education is officially issuing its new guidance to protect the right to prayer in our public schools. That's a big deal. Now the Democrats will sue us, but we'll win. At the National Prayer Breakfast, he said, this is a beautiful American tradition, and it's a true honor to be back. I think I've been here just about every time. It's hard to turn it down. I don't have the courage to turn it down. The last time I came, I got into D.C. at 4 in the morning. They said, sir, you're going to be speaking at 7. I said, I'll be there. I'm afraid not to be. I need all the help I can get. At another point, the president predicted that he'd make it to heaven while scolding the media for misunderstanding his prior joke last year about not making the cut. He said, I really think I probably should make it. I mean, I'm not a perfect candidate, but I did a heck of a lot of good. He didn't say heck, though. They always like to say Trump is a dictator. They love that. I'm not a dictator, but they were like dictators. They were like the Gestapo. They're arresting people for going to church, and they're arresting people and treating people horribly. I made a lot of amends to those people. Trump repeatedly crowed about some of the successful military operations he approved, such as the January 3rd raid to capture Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro and the Christmas Day bombing of ISIS in Nigeria. I specifically told Pete Hegseth, I said, hit them on Christmas Day, not earlier, not later. And man, did he hit them. He also, and just as an update quickly, he referenced Don Lemon storming the church at the prayer breakfast. He said, I watched that tape, and that was violent. The minister was great. He was so calm and good. They're screaming at him, terrible, right in the middle of a church service. It's got to be illegal. They're bad people. You have one Trump hater in particular, and he did not reference Don Lemon by name, but I think it's pretty specific who he was talking about. It was terrible. They tried to use freedom of the press and all this to get out of a criminal event. But that was a horrible thing to witness. So we'll see where the Don Lemon case goes, but we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Speaking of the media, and I know so many of you are huge fans of The View, I say dripping with sarcasm. Well, apparently, Elisa Farah Griffin is on maternity leave. Okay? I know that's all I can think about. Well, she's now being replaced by Savannah Chrisley, is this right? Who is a Trump-supporting reality television personality, best known for Chrisley's Know Best. She said, I believe in sitting at tables with people who disagree with you and refusing to shrink your values to make others comfortable. I stand on faith, family, and freedom, acknowledging that the other hosts are not on the same side of the political and cultural aisle. And I like how and I've never understood this about The View and why this is necessary. They always try to have one quote-unquote conservative. Very often that conservative tends not to be that conservative. But why that's the case, so it's what, 1 on 5, 1 on 4? I don't know how many people are on the show. That makes it fair. I mean, it's very typical of the left-wing media. We see it on news broadcasts where there'll be, 4, 5 hard left Democrats, and then they'll ask on like a Chris Christie, and he'll cave on everything, and they love it. But Savannah Chrisley, added, I hope this week opens the door to more unity and less division. But let me be clear. I've not forgotten the public bashing of my family by some of these same voices. Grace does not require amnesia. Ooh. So that may be a little interesting, but at the end of the day, it's still 1 verse 4, 1 verse 5, and that is a group on The View that has absolutely no problem screaming over everybody. I have another example of media bias here in just a moment and why the media has lost all credibility. Then we have a couple of other updates, some international updates. We've got to get to New York State, but I've got a Chuck Schumer update. The Democrats aren't happy with him. Also, a few things here about the Democrats in general. I don't know if you saw the rollout of Kamala Harris's new website. That is getting a lot of talk for all the wrong reasons. So we'll talk about that as well. What else we got? All right, so Drumline Live, 3 guests coming in the 7 o'clock hour. On Tuesday, because Monday, there will not be a Frankly Speaking. There will not be a Frankly Speaking out. Well, there will be, but it won't be live. Tuesday, Mark Twain Barbershop Chorus is going to be joining us. You can book your Valentine singogram? That's not right. Why can't I think of the word? Where they will come and sing a couple songs for your loved one. So you can still book those. We're going to learn all about that on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, we're going to learn about the Great Backyard Bird Count. So if you're someone that likes to watch the birds, you can put that into an app, and it helps them track data throughout the whole world. It's kind of fascinating. Someone sent me a little piece on it, and I said, you know what? I want to do an interview on this. So that's where we stand. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Some moments call for more.
Health club is not an option. Come to Hustleston today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into any yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot, dual temperature hot tubs and swim spas are all on display in Hustleston's indoor and outdoor showroom. Before you buy, 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hustleston swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hustleston's.
Your spirits.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you can throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
Means everything.
Dear Coach. Dear Coach.
Dear Coach, they don't teach you that inner strength is the most important kind of strong, but you taught me that.
They don't teach you how to build confidence in yourself or how to deal with all the pressures all at once, but you taught me that.
First tee was more than golf. It's where I discovered what I'm capable of.
You didn't just prepare me for 18 holes. You were preparing me for every day of my life. Learn more at firsttee.org.
When winter hits the Twin Tears, the road changes fast, and your tires should keep up. At Tire World, we're here to make sure you're ready for every snowy morning, icy curb, and late-night drive home. From all season to dedicated snow tires, our experts help you find the perfect fit for your car, your budget, and the way you drive. Fast service, trusted brands, and safety you can feel every mile. Don't wait for the first storm and roll into winter with confidence. Tire World of Corning, family service you can trust.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Let's go to some viewer comments. Give them heck, Savannah. That's in reference to The View. And put those shallow-thinking herd of Democrats in their place as ignorant, rhetoric-spewing donkeys. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Frankly, I have zero interest in the Super Bowl without the Bills in it. I don't like the NFL in general with its latent corporate, social, political agendas. I think the NFL is one of the largest money laundering rackets in the world. Thank you very much. Yes, I know I had a couple audio issues. I appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who sent that in. I think I have it fixed now. We'll see. Okay, show you a little bit more about the media bias. New York Times, as we know, completely left-wing, their columnist, Jamel Bowie, suggested Vice President J.D. Vance's mother was right to have attempted to sell him for drugs. In a series of comments on the left-wing platform Blue Sky, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Blue Sky is a social media app. It was created by the left so they could continue to grow their echo chamber because they could not even be bothered to see any difference of opinion, like on a Facebook or a Twitter or on Instagram. So they created this Blue Sky to be a left-wing echo chamber because, again, they're frightened by any outside ideas. We see that in the world of academia. We see it in Hollywood, so many places. In a series of comments, Bowie criticized Vance for a recent interview with the Daily Mail where he declined to apologize to Minnesota shooting victim Alex Preddy's family after accusing him of showing up with ill intent at that protest. Bowie wrote, "This is a wicked man who knows he is being wicked and does it anyway." That's what she said. Or I shouldn't say, I don't know. Jamel Bowie. Anyway, that's J.D. Vance that they're talking about. He added, like, did you see that smirk? That brief, ain't I a stinker grin? Beneath contempt. He responded to a comment calling Vance pompous while musing, no wonder his mom tried to sell him for Percocets. I can't imagine a parent who wouldn't sell little JD for Percocets if they knew he would turn out like this. To be a bit serious, one irony of Vance's life is that he is also an addict, addicted to power and clearly willing to sell anything to get it. Now, of course, we know J.D. Vance has talked about his mother's struggle numerous times in the past. Boy, was it ever touching when his mom was able to attend the inauguration. And, of course, you can read all about it in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, about his mother's struggles. So there you are. That's the New York Times columnist, Jamel Bowie, and his thoughts on J.D. Vance. Oh, as an update from a story we brought to you, I can't remember how long ago. 6 Republican state legislators are urging their alma mater, St. John's University, to reverse a decision that blocked Turning Point USA from opening a chapter on the Queens campus. The student government of SJU, St. John University, one of the largest Catholic universities in the country, denied an application to open a Turning Point USA chapter just months after Kirk was shot dead by an assassin on September 10th. The politicians wrote in a letter to the St. John's University student government saying allowing Turning Point USA to operate on campus would not only provide students with an additional platform for civic engagement, but also strengthen the university's reputation as a place where every student can find their voice and advocate for their beliefs. The alums who signed the letter, which was copied to university president, the Reverend Brian Shanley, and other administrators, were state senators Andrew Lanza, Jack Martins, and Anthony Palumbo, and Assembly members Ed Ra, Patricia Canzero Fitzpatrick, and John Mickelin. Continuing, you can reaffirm St. John's dedication to academic freedom and respectful discourse by ensuring that students of all political beliefs can exercise their free speech rights on campus. We urge you to reconsider this decision. Now, student government, not the university administration, makes the call on approving or opposing. So this is an example of the far left mentality from the students. They would not approve Turning Point USA coming on their Catholic University campus. Turning Point USA has never been approved as a club for the current semester either. The university has failed to recognize the voices of conservative Catholic students who want fair representation, said a 19-year-old student seeking to form a Turning Point chapter, Mazimo Guerrero. When more than half of the student body leans liberal, student government predictably reflects that imbalance and advances liberal agendas while silencing opposing views. The administration refuses to intervene, relying on the assumption that donors, alumni, and parents will believe the university bears no responsibility. In reality, this flawed and corrupt system has allowed liberal rhetoric to dominate campus for years, clearly shown by the repeated denial of Turning Point USA. He said it was unacceptable to deny Christian influence groups such as Turning Point USA on campus, while LGBTQ and Muslim clubs are welcome. Guerrero urged alumni to reconsider supporting the university. I call on McMillan Society, the Founder Society, and all donors to reconsider their support, because if Catholic youth are not heard at a Catholic university, money will have to speak for them. Wilson, who is the student government president, Ava Wilson, and the SJU administration have declined to comment. So there's still some traction there to call out St. John's University. On the international front, Iran seized oil tankers and threatened a massacre in the Strait of Hormuz hours before the talks with the U.S. They seized 2 foreign oil tankers in the Persian Gulf, accusing them of smuggling fuel and detaining 15 foreign crew members ahead of the high-stakes U.S.-Iran talks, which are today in Oman. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy said it intercepted the 2 ships near Farsi Island, claiming they were carrying about 1 million liters of smuggled fuel. The crews, made up of 15 foreign nationals, were taken into custody and referred to Iran's judicial authorities, according to Iranian state media. The IRGC alleged the vessels were part of an organized fuel smuggling network that had been operating in the region for several months. Now, according to the Jerusalem Post, Iranian authorities framed the operation as a significant blow to illegal fuel trafficking, though they did not immediately disclose the vessel's nationalities or destinations. Now, rhetoric has grown hostile from Iran, which is typical. Let me try this. Ayatollah Zarami, a former Iranian minister and ex-state broadcaster chief, issued a warning threatening violence in the Strait of Hormuz, through which around 1/5 of the world's oil and petroleum product consumption passes. Quote, "I am sure that the Strait of Hormuz will be a place of massacre and heck for the U.S. Iran will show that the Strait of Hormuz has historically belonged to Iran. The only thing the Americans can think of is playing with their vessels and moving them from one place to another." He later repeated the threat, calling the strait a potential killing field for American forces and signaling Iran's willingness to escalate amid mounting regional pressure. So that talk will be interesting today. We'll see where that comes. Now, a top Russian general, Vladimir Alexeyev, was shot several times in a Moscow apartment building early this morning. He was shot and wounded in Moscow in an attack that follows a series of assassinations of senior military officers that Russia has blamed on Ukraine. Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev was shot several times by an unidentified assailant at an apartment building in Moscow's northwest and hospitalized. They didn't say who could be behind the attack. So there is another update. And one last international update, and then we're going to move along. The U.S. strikes another alleged drug trafficking boat in Eastern Pacific, killing 2. Now, I know there was criticism after Maduro was captured because many on the left said, well, why are you stopping these drug trafficking strikes? Well, here we go. You got what you wanted. There was another strike. The U.S. military said that it had carried out another deadly strike on a vessel accused of trafficking drugs. U.S. Southern Command said on social media that the boat was transiting along known narco trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco trafficking operations. The strike killed 2 people, and a video linked to the post shows a boat moving through the water before exploding in flames. The strike was announced just hours after Pete Hegseth declared that some top cartel drug traffickers in the region have decided to cease all narcotics operations indefinitely due to recent highly effective kinetic strikes in the Caribbean. That was on his personal account on social media. Neither U.S. Southern Command nor the Pentagon would answer follow-up questions about Hegseth's claims. So there you are. There's your updates. Oh, I see we've got a Climate Fact Friday Bob comment. We'll save that for the 7 o'clock hour to keep you hooked. That's Broadcasting 101. We've got some other comments as well. Keep them coming in. Your predictions, or lack thereof, about this weekend's big game. Will you be watching? If so, is there anyone you're rooting for? Or your thoughts in general? Maybe you like to gamble a little bit, according to the numbers you do. The numbers that we had, what was $170 million would be put on the Super Bowl legally. That's just legally in New York State. So what's your thoughts, even against the spread, if you want to do that? Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Tobacco doesn't care about your tomorrow. Fight for your future. Quit smoking today. You can quit. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS.
Don't forget our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Watch news from the Twin Tiers and catch local events on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Did you know CancerGuard could help screen for multiple cancers?
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
New CancerGuard from the makers of Cologuard.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. According to Axios, Chuck Schumer is being told by House Democrats that he needs to get the heck out. That's because Chuck Schumer had the audacity to negotiate a deal with Republicans to keep the government funded. This is typical. Remember, this happened not the last government shutdown that lasted for so long for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And if you notice, the media doesn't talk about that as much, that it was a huge failure for the Democrats. But the time before that, he voted to keep the government open, which has been kind of his historic stance. And boy, that's when his poll numbers dropped. They started talking about AOC primarying him, ousting him from a leadership position. Well, here we go again. While his caucus remains behind him, Chuck Schumer is becoming persona non grata for much of the progressive wing of the Democrat Party. Representative Delia Ramirez from Illinois said, "I'm going to continue to tell you that Schumer needs to get the heck out over and over until he does. He continues to demonstrate to us that he can't meet the moment." And that was an argument even comedian Jon Stewart had made, that he's the kind, and you've got the glasses on the nose reading a statement to the president, that's the old way of doing things. And if you see the radical socialized part of the Democrat Party, which is becoming, I believe, the majority of the Democrat Party, you see that is not the way they want to do things. We've actually heard, disturbingly, they want their representatives, they want their fellow protesters to get hurt, injured, put themselves in dangerous scenarios to where they can essentially be a martyr and become a casualty, so that they will have more of the media focus on them and more outrage, so the protests continue to grow. So that is not what Chuck Schumer is about. You may not like Chuck Schumer, but he is more of a here's a letter that I wrote to the president kind of guy. And that's not the party, the Democrat Socialists of America, and the wing that doesn't necessarily call themselves that, but that are Democrats, that are socialists. They want more of a revolutionary kind of tactic. They want people in the streets. They want aggression. They want violence in many instances. Another House Democrat, speaking on the condition of anonymity to offer insight into private conversations among lawmakers, told Axios the main feeling among members is a lack of trust in his strength and ability to strike a hard bargain. The House voted Tuesday to pass an appropriations package that funds the Departments of Defense, Health and Human Services, Labor, Housing and Urban Development, State and Transportation until September. It also keeps the Department of Homeland Security funded at a 2025 level until February the 13th, which is meant to give Senate Democrats and the White House enough time to hash out a final deal on ICE and Customs and Border Protection reforms. But while Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have said they won't accept anything short of reforms of those agencies, their GOP counterparts have cast doubt on the prospects of a quick deal. Senate Majority Leader John Thune went so far as to tell reporters that a deal by February 13th was an impossibility, floating a year-long stopgap funding bill to keep DHS open. Jeffries has essentially threatened to allow DHS shutdown if his demands aren't met, saying in a statement, absent bold and meaningful change, there is no credible path forward with respect to the Department of Homeland Security funding bill next week. But Schumer asked if he would make the same ultimatum at a press conference with Jeffries. He told reporters, I'm just going to say we're sending them a proposal and we wait for their response. Some Democrats worried that the threat of a DHS shutdown is not enough to force Republicans to the table. They feel Schumer gave up the party's best leverage by cutting a deal to reopen the rest of the government. Ramirez said every time that we are winning, we seem to somehow sabotage it. Representative Pramil Jayapal said, personally, I was of the opinion that what are we going to get in 10 days that we didn't get? A second House Democrat who spoke on the condition of anonymity told Axios that all those spending bills, that is the most leverage, and that many folks in the House Democrat caucus wish that we had more confidence in Schumer's ability to navigate a good, tough deal. Chuck Schumer also, just since we're talking about him quickly, Chuck Schumer wants you to know this tired old rhetoric, kind of to these Democrats' points that Chuck Schumer just doesn't have it anymore, using kind of the old tactics of politics. He is comparing the SAVE Act, which just requires ID to vote. Seems pretty standard. The polls show that the American people want that. They want legitimate elections. Well, Chuck Schumer says requiring an ID to vote is, you guessed it, Jim Crow 2.0. It's Jim Crow 2.0, and I called it Jim Crow 2.0. Okay, take the credit, Schumer. And the right wing went nuts all over the internet. That's because they know it's true. What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting. For instance, if you change your woman who got married and change your last name, you won't be able to show ID and you'll be discriminated against. If you can't find a birth certificate or a proper ID, you'll be discriminated against. This is vicious and nasty. And I said to our Republican colleagues, it will not pass the Senate. You will not get a single Democratic vote in the Senate. We're not reviving Jim Crow all over this country. And when the American people hear what exactly it is doing and what it intends to do, they're going to be against it as well. Isn't that just really, really weird when Chuck Schumer, and you see the talking points in the past, same when he's saying Jim Crow 2.0, isn't it really weird his thoughts, I guess, on the ability of the minority community, that finding a birth certificate or a proper ID is discrimination? I don't know. And Chuck Schumer also rejected, this is an interesting one, he rejected Trump's offer to unfreeze $16 billion for the Gateway Tunnel in exchange for renaming Penn Station and Dulles Airport after him. So Trump said, allegedly, that if you name Penn Station and Dulles Airport after Trump, you'll get $16 billion for your Gateway Tunnel. Well, Chuck Schumer rejected that offer. He reportedly told the president that he didn't have the power to deliver on the unusual request. The Trump administration made the ask as part of a continuing talk to release funds earmarked for the massive Hudson River Rail Tunnel project that would connect New York and New Jersey. Schumer huddled with Trump at the White House on January 15th to discuss the Gateway Tunnel project. It's unclear if the president made the offer to the senator during that meeting. All right, and since we mentioned Chuck Schumer, let's mention just quickly before, I got to tell you about the Kamala Harris thing, I'm sorry. And then we're going to talk about New York State issues because there's a lot coming out there. But Hakeem Jeffrey said after winning the midterm elections, I want you to keep this in mind, if you're feeling complacent, if you're happy with last November's wins, and you're just going to take this one easy, Hakeem Jeffrey said that after winning the midterm elections, the House Democrat majority will clean up Trump's corruption. And I quote, Donald Trump likes to conduct himself as if he should be held to a standard different than every other American president or former president. And we can't allow that to happen on all of these things. And certainly it's going to be the case that in a Democrat majority, we're going to fight hard to tackle the issues that matter, to drive down the high cost of living, fight hard to fix our broken healthcare system, of course, but also at the same time, we're going to clean up the corruption that exists in Washington, D.C., in the Congress, with the Supreme Court. Oh, we could be looking at a little hint there that they're going to stack the Supreme Court. And also deal with Donald Trump and his administration, who spend all of their time, it seems like, trying to enrich themselves, their family, and their friends, as opposed to focusing on doing their job to make life better for the American people. We will hold the Trump administration accountable in a manner consistent with what the House should be all about, a check and balance on an out-of-control administration. So what this is signaling, if you thought Russia was bad, you're going to see 2 years of nonstop fake, phony investigations. Impeachment charges. Trump even predicted it. So just prepare for that if you're not willing to get out and work hard at the midterm. Jeffries finished by saying Donald Trump understands that if there is a free and fair election in November, and we're going to make sure there is one, that the House is lost. Democrats are going to take back control of the House of Representatives, and the Senate is looking increasingly shaky as well because the American people are rejecting this extremism. Donald Trump and Republicans have failed. So that's Hakeem Jeffries, your thoughts, but we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
To the me I used to be, before talking to 988.
I felt alone.
I thought seeing hard things was just part of the job. I thought that having a bad day at work meant I was failing. But then I connected with someone at 988.
A real person texted back. Someone listened without judgment.
Now I know. Now I know it's okay to let someone help me too.
And I'm stronger than I thought.
We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/team up.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today. That's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow. Turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning to
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to hear from Climate Fact Friday Bob, who's got his comment for the week coming in. We appreciate that. First couple of comments from viewers. JD Vance's mom trying to sell him for drugs. I wonder what that New York columnist said about the Kirk assassination. I'm sure no sympathetic rhetoric. Thank you for that. That's in reference. If you're just tuning in, you're probably very confused by that comment. But earlier we talked about the New York Times columnist that said there's no wonder why J.D. Vance's mom tried to sell him for Percocets. Now, in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, J.D. Vance highlights the struggles that his mom had with drug abuse. So appreciate that comment. Mark writes in, they should make a law where they can't use the government shutdown as a pawn. It's wrong for Democrats to say if we don't get what we want, we will shut the government down. Well, and there's talks about, ending the filibuster and these type of things. So I understand what you're saying. Here's a comment from a different viewer. Yeah, Jeffries and his socialist comrades are going to take care of all the problems they are responsible for causing. Yeah, right. All right. If you Democrats buy that, yeah. Nice try. Okay. Kamala Harris launches a new word salad initiative. It's called Headquarters 6-7. Former Vice President Kamala Harris announced a rebrand of her long dormant campaign account Thursday after teasing a mystery announcement the day before. Her Kamala HQ account on X, which went silent after her historic landslide loss to Donald Trump, was renamed Headquarters 6-7. It's where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on and also to meet and revisit with some of our greatest courageous leaders. I'm really excited about it, so stay engaged and I'll see you out there. Now, many donors and Democrats are still angry, of course, at her failed campaign and the disastrous job that she did. Now, of course, this does make you speculate to rebrand and rebuild her social media presence. What's this all about? Now, we know she decided not to run for governor of California, but there is some speculation that she's thinking about giving it another go for president, which should come as no surprise. I mean, she ran for president before, never got a single vote by a Democrat originally, and yet somehow she ended up as the vice president and then had the historic landslide defeat. But that would be this would be her third time running for president, in theory, if she decides to do so. Harris's move mimics Gavin Newsom, whose staff frequently uses his press office account to taunt the president. So that's apparently where she's going with this. This is a place to check in with elected leaders, community leaders, civic leaders, faith leaders, and young leaders. Now, the reason this is making people angry, and we got to take a break, and I'll tell you about it a little bit more when we return. The 6-7, you're probably saying, what is that in reference to? Well, anybody that is around kids at all, they realize the 6-7 is a reference to that kind of pop culture, slang that kids have been using about 6-7. I've got a couple of things mocking her on this when we return, but we're running late. This hour is almost through, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Quickfill, what matters most is that our customers, our communities, and our heroes are taken care of. We start by providing American-made gasoline, which means you can buy local, keeping America and your communities strong. We also support vital charities every year and hold Operation Give Thanks each November to help provide a better future for our veterans and their families. We're proud to support the communities we live and work in, and we're doing our best every day to make our towns a better place. Quickfill, driving America.
There have always been a few, ready to fight and win. Since 1775, these few have been Marines, and they come from across this land to defend the future of our nation. This year, our Corps celebrates 250 years, and Marines are proud to serve this country, each other, and all that is still to come for America.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today, that's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow, turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning, 2
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Comment from a viewer. Don't forget that Kamala Harris spent $1.5 billion in a short amount of time. Yeah, 107 days. And we've heard up to almost $2 billion in debt and over her head. Well, people are upset about her headquarters 6'7" because they believe it's a possible reference to the 6'7" meme. One account said, "Welcome to headquarters, the new Gen Z-led progressive content hub." That is what it said on her Twitter. Now, Ryan King said that she's being skewered for her cringe attempt to use Gen Alpha brain rot slang on the rebranded campaign. The Manhattan Institute's Chris Rufo said, "My children have informed me that 6'7" is already old, tired, and cringe. So once again, Kamala is coming up short." Yes, much like Hochul in that way. Way behind the 8 ball. When she finally gets to something, it's already been beaten to death, like in this instance with 6'7". Her team explained that ex-boss Elon Musk didn't let them have the username headquarters, which is why the 6'7" got added. There doesn't appear to be an X account with the handle headquarters. Harris has touted her retool headquarters 6'7" account as the new Gen Z progressive content hub. Okay, I don't need to read her statement, but it seems as if she's going in the direction of Gavin Newsom, trying to be hip. Federal Communications Commissioner Chairman Brendan Carr, "Haven't been this disappointed since Beyonce didn't perform." And that's in reference to when she kind of sold a fundraiser as Beyonce was going to perform. So a lot of people came out and Beyonce just gave a quick endorsement. There was criticism there if there was money involved, these type of things. Heritage Foundation's Mike Howell said, "How can a Gen Z-led operation be led by a baby boomer? Bad boy Doug is more in touch with the youth, in my opinion," meaning her husband. "The look you get when you're ready to get out there and waste another $1 billion." Yeah, they're talk about trying hard. She reminds me so much of Hochul. Douglas Murray says, "I suppose I should admit it. I miss Kamala Harris. Life in this country has not been the same without her. We've missed her musings on yellow buses, all that talk about coconut trees, and of course her meditations on the nature of time. Since Kamala's gone silent, I often find myself going back to her greatest hits to remind myself, for instance, that time, when you think about it, has great significance. Most of all, I have missed the great, seemingly wine-fueled stand-up moments when she talks about something that she seems to find almost endlessly amusing, for reasons that no one else can either explain or share. So I'm relieved to discover that Kamala is back bigly." Perhaps Kamala and her progressive allies really do believe that Gen Z and others can be won over by ancient memes, revisiting young leaders, and having a site where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on. I wouldn't be so sure, but at least there's still the good news for us Kamala watchers. She's back. Thank you, Douglas Murray. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit. We got New York State issues galore. We've got a Climate Fact Friday with Bob, and later on in the next hour, we're going to hear from some of the cast. It's a large cast from Drumline Live, coming to the Clements Center on February 11th. And thank you to those that made, especially that one that sent in a comment, that one viewer who had such nice things to say about our interview with Good Witch, Bad Witch. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show. Let me know if you went last night. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back with hour number 2 after this.
Seven reasons to buy certified pre-owned vehicles at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
3 months or 3,000-mile maximum care coverage.
Carfax Vehicle History Report.
Car rental allowance. 24-hour roadside assistance.
125-point vehicle inspection.
3-month Sirius XM radio.
Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
I'm Grace.
I'm Ida, and I lived in California.
Timmy was just a puppy when I moved in. He's a emotional support animal.
I had Missy, who was 15 years old and blind.
Likes the people, he likes to greet all the people. All the employees are happy to see him.
I feel that my pets are very welcome here. I feel very welcome here. I think it's great.
child is fighting a critical illness, one truth touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. And when we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Yay! Become a wishmaker today and be part of a journey that truly.
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio right here on Marcus Street in Corning. We've got some, where is it? Did I get rid? I didn't get rid of it. I just got to find it. There it is. We have a Climate Fact Friday Bob comment this morning. Good morning, all. Well, good morning to you, Climate Fact Friday, Bob. Here with another Climate Fact Friday. Satellite imagery shows global sea level has risen by only 1 millimeter over the past 2 years, a sharp slowdown from the official post-1993 average of approximately 6.6 millimeters. Every 2 years, sea level does not rise smoothly. It responds to sunspots and endocycles, ocean, heat, redistribution, and short-term cooling. There is no smooth acceleration. Curve in the raw data, this recent flattening is real, measurable, and inconvenient, and spoils the narrative of the mainstream media that soon low-lying ocean fronts will be underwater. Thanks to all, thank you, Bob. Thanks to all, and have a good weekend and be safe. Go Bills. Thank you, Bob. We always appreciate it. Climate Fact Friday, Bob. It was awful nice of you. You know, I always say this on the program. I think that some of the powers that be watch this show and then steal our talking points, whether it's comments that you sent in, whether it's something I said. But how many times have I said on this program that I think the attacks on ICE, yesterday we had the absurd story where at the Olympics, at that athlete suite where the athletes and their families, and by the way, the athletes were ice skaters, hockey players, that they were upset about the suite where their family and them can relax and eat and these type of things. They're upset because it was called Ice House. Remember, these people make their living on ice all day, but Ice House, they felt they needed to protest that so they could get their virtue signaling in, protest that because of ICE, completely unrelated, so they changed it to Winter House. Well, so I've said that this reaction to ICE is getting very close to the defund the police movement that became so popular with those among the left that really backfired for them. Senator John Kennedy said Democrats' defund the police plan failed, but here they go again. I think someone's watching. We appreciate you watching, Senator Kennedy. As I've watched the protests in Minneapolis, it seems obvious to me that America is at risk of falling face first into another disastrous anti-law enforcement crisis, one that we already have here in New York with bail reform and the like. Here's a cold dish of truth. There are some people in this world who enjoy hurting other people and taking other people's stuff. These people aren't sick. They're not confused. They're not mixed up. It's not that their mothers or fathers didn't love them enough. They're just antisocial. I don't know why God made some people that way. If I get to heaven, I'm going to ask him. Every society deals with these people differently. But in America, we've chosen to hire brave men and women to enforce our laws by confronting antisocial people when they commit crimes. We rarely hear about these courageous officers and the millions of positive interactions they have each day. We only hear about the handful of cops who, by negligence or by choice, harm other people while enforcing the law. The defund the police movement seized upon a few bad examples of law enforcement to sell the lie that cops are worse than criminals. These activists believe that our country would be better off if we fired all police officers and replaced them with social workers. And that was a very serious discussion that the left had. And really a rallying cry. Prior to the death of George Floyd, the defund the police movement was a fringe idea that was only popular among Marxist academics and soy latte drinking, NPR tote bag carrying Karens. Fair-minded Americans knew it would be insane to replace cops with social workers. Murderers, thieves, drug dealers, and carjackers don't need hugs, they need jail. But the Karen wing of the Democrat Party saw Floyd's death as an opportunity to promote the Defund the Police movement. This presented Democrat officials, including Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, with a choice. Door number one, they could ignore the Karens and restore law and order. Door number two, they could defund, disparage, and demoralize every officer in the state to appease the Karens. Walz, Frey, and many others chose door number two. They let rioters seek revenge on law enforcement, stood by as police precincts burned, and sat in silence as activists defamed the countless good cops who kept their cities safe. These decisions created one of the worst crime waves in American history. Commercial burglaries increased by 43%, carjackings increased by 93%, and murders rose by 44% in the wake of the George Floyd riots. The Defund the Police project backfired faster than anyone would have imagined, and Democratic mayors scrambled to undo the damage. But maintaining a strong police force is not a light switch you can flick on and off as the woke mob demands. After years of demoralizing police officers and denigrating them as bigots, racists, and murderers, a lot of cops didn't want their jobs back. Nationwide, police departments are still operating with an average of 6% fewer officers than they did in 2020. In Minneapolis, the police force is still 36% smaller than it was before Mr. Floyd's death, despite a prolonged effort to hire more officers. If anyone can recognize the deep dish stupidity of the Defund the Police movement, it should be Walz and Frey. But today, it looks like they are ready to lead the Democrat friends down the same anti-law enforcement path with a slight twist. Instead of arguing that cops are a bigger problem than criminals, Walz and Frey have joined the Karen wing of the Democrat Party to say that enforcing immigration laws is racist and vetting migrants is a form of white supremacy. Once again, these activists see the chaos in Minneapolis as an opportunity to use the George Floyd playbook to get Congress to defund ICE and Border Patrol. But riders do not get to dictate which laws the federal government enforces, which illegal immigrants deports, or what types of fraud it investigates. The federal government, empowered by voters, has the right to make those decisions under the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, and it is illegal for states to obstruct legitimate federal law enforcement. I understand that Walz, Frey, and their Democrat colleagues must follow their hearts. I'm just asking them to take their brains with them. It was weapons-grade stupid to defund the police in 2020. It is just as dumb to defund ICE today. From terrorists entering the country to cartels smuggling people and drugs into our communities, President Biden's open border policies were a disaster for the security and prosperity of the United States. President Trump may have made it look easy to secure the border, but it wasn't. ICE and Border Patrol worked hard from day one to restore order at the border. No one wants to see violence in our streets, but we have got to learn the lessons of 2020 and recognize that good law enforcement is the solution, not the problem. So thank you to Republican Senator John Kennedy for that piece, and I thought it was a good way to piggyback off of what we've been saying here for quite some time. We may talk more about this because if you look at Minnesota, Operation Metro Surge, ICE has arrested over 4,000 illegals across Minnesota. Despite coordinated attacks of violence against our law enforcement, our officers have made more than 4,000 arrests of illegal aliens, including murderers, pedophiles, rapists, gang members, and terrorists in Minnesota since Operation Metro Surge began, said the Department of Homeland Security's Tricia McLaughlin. We need sanctuary politicians to cooperate with us by notifying us before releasing public safety threats back onto the streets to commit more crimes and create more victims. We will not back down from our mission to remove criminal illegal aliens from American neighborhoods. Now, we can talk more about this. There's really interesting piece I hope I can get to later on, how mega donors have built this quote-unquote youth-led far-left protest movement. And we've been talking about this and giving you updates on where this money's coming from as we learn. We can talk about that, but I do want to get into New York State issues before we run too late because there's just too much to cover here. And I think some things you're going to find very important, very interesting. We see that yesterday, Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, the Democrat Socialist of America, a member of the Democrat Socialist of America, he endorsed, there's a lot of speculation. I was one that believed he would not endorse. I'll be full disclosure. I did not think he would ultimately end up endorsing, but he did yesterday ahead of the Democrat convention, which is going on today. So we'll talk about that. And coming up, not this next segment, but the segment after, we'll hear from Drumline Live. 3 members of the cast of, I think they said over 30, which will be performing at the Clemens Center on February 11th. We're going to hear all about that show and how much fun that show is going to be. So stay with us. That's coming up a little bit later on, and we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
At the Corning Painted Post High School Learning Center, we provide students with a variety of community-based and academic opportunities and a fresh start. Located on the Corning Community College campus, students earn high school credits and gain real-world experiences through community service, internships, art partnerships, and work opportunities, experiences they value for a lifetime. Our students find a place to reconnect and succeed. The Corning Painted Post High School Learning Center, turning fresh starts into future success.
Month after year after year, even decades, you've paid into the insurance system. You've done your part. But when you're seriously injured in a car accident or another tragedy, that system turns its back. Insurance companies care more about pumping up profits and stock prices than paying for your medical bills, your lost wages, or your recovery. At WYDC Injury Law, we fight to make them pay what's fair. If you've been hurt in New York or Pennsylvania, call 607-500-HURT. Don't let the insurance companies win.
Did you know CancerGuard could help screen for multiple cancers?
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Aha, good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
New CancerGuard from the makers of Cologuard. Knowing means everything.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today. That's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow. Turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Marcus Street in Corning. A comment from Ken, who writes in, where is it? Demoralizing the police made us less safe. But I would bet, with the help of the legacy media, propping up the criminals and painting them as the oppressed, that it brought more sheeple into the Democrat Party as loyal voters. Remember what the legacy media said about George Floyd. He was a mentor for children. Yes, they always present a different case. And you're exactly right, that a lot of people, we remember that time, at a time when it was illegal for you to have a graduation party, a birthday party. You couldn't meet in large groups. The government allowed, or you couldn't go to church, but the government allowed these large protests together. I remember seeing them on Marcus Street at the time. All right, speaking of, not really, but of New York State issues. Oh, to that viewer who the other day, I can't remember who it was, and I apologize, and mentioned the DMV increasing points on your license. I didn't realize some of these, just quickly. So any alcohol or drug-related conviction or incident used to be 0 points before before February 16th. These are all before February 16th. Now, starting February 16th, there are 11 points for any alcohol or drug-related conviction. Aggravated unlicensed operation went from 0 to 11. Overtaking or passing a stopped school bus was 5. Now it's 8. Speeding in a construction zone in the past was based on speed. Now it's an automatic 8. Overheight vehicle bridge strike, 0 before, now 8. Leaving a scene of a personal injury crash was a 3, now it's a 5. Failure to exercise due care was a 2, now a 5. Facilitating aggravated unlicensed operation was a 0, now a 5. And finally, speed contests and races. I'm sorry for all of you out there who are involved in speed contests and races. Was a 0, now it is a 5. Okay, this is kind of we're getting into the wonkiness a little bit of Albany politics, but we talk about one-party rule. Well, we've had clips from this gentleman. I interviewed him back in the radio days. I don't know if I've interviewed him on TV. I'm not sure. But State Assembly GOP leader, he's a leader of the Republican Party in the State Assembly, Will Barclay, will not seek re-election. This was kind of a breaking news story yesterday on Empire Report. New York Assembly Minority Leader Will Barclay said he will step down from his leadership post and won't seek re-election in November. Barclay, who has represented an Oswego County district in the Assembly for more than 23 years, becoming the first Central New Yorker in at least 115 years to serve as Assembly Minority Leader after winning a vote from his Republican colleagues a day before the start of the 2020 legislative session. Now, Barclay, who was 57, gave no explanation of why he made this decision. He said, "I intend to step down as Minority Leader in the coming days, allowing for a smooth transition to new leadership early in this legislative session. This is the right time for me to move on." Now they go in and talk about his family. But Barclay, who continues to work at the law firm, did not say whether he would stay active in politics. He said, "The 120th District has been my family's home for generations. Regardless of what professional role I'm in or where my future takes me, my roots will always be firmly planted in Central New York. My love for the region, the communities within it, and the people who have been by my side will never fade." Interesting. Now, this comes 3 months after Republicans in Central New York suffered one of their most humiliating election defeats. Now, in Onondaga County, Republican leaders have decided to distance the local party from President Trump. Oof. Some GOP leaders blame Trump's aggressive mass deportation efforts and other unpopular policies for the stinging rebuke from voters. So, according to this piece, some of those Republicans, at least Onondaga County, are, I guess, denouncing Trump. Barclay becomes at least the third prominent Republican at the state level to drop their 2026 election bid in recent months. Of course, we had Elise Stefanik, Mike Henry, who we talked about last week, a Republican who won 45% of the vote against Attorney General Letitia James last week, dropped out. It was speculated he dropped out because he did not see a path to victory after Elise Stefanik dropped out, and we were left with Bruce Blakeman. And we can go on and on here. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie made it clear Thursday that Barclay was respected by Democrats, saying, "I'm normally happy when a Republican leaves office, but Minority Leader Will Barclay is a distinct exception to that rule. In all seriousness, he's been a good friend and partner in government. Even when we disagreed on policy, I knew we could always work together with respect. I wish him all the best." Also, but that is a big story. I know, again, very wonky, but it's something that you should know. Will Barclay has done a great job. We've had clips of him on it. We may have interviewed him, but I know I did on radio. Was a solid minority leader, and it was kind of shocking. This, not so shocking. This seems to be a trend every 4 years. Former Libertarian gubernatorial candidate Larry Sharp recently announced that he'll be running again for New York governor, but this is very interesting, as a Republican. Now, in the past, he ran as a Libertarian. He did do very well in certain counties upstate. I mean, didn't even have a chance to win as a Libertarian, but I'm saying took away enough Republican votes. It could have been a deciding factor. And I can't remember if it was Molinaro or if it was Rob Astorino where he had his biggest impact, Larry Sharp. I can't remember. But there was obviously a lot of speculation online. I saw it on Facebook that Larry Sharp was going to jump in the race again. Most would have thought as a third-party candidate, but now he is going to run as a Republican. This race isn't left versus right, Sharp said. It's a people versus a system that doesn't work, and New Yorkers are done watching. Now, this will be interesting. So if there is a primary, the convention is next week. If there is, and we're going to talk about the Democrat convention here in just a moment, but if there is a primary, so how it works without getting too wonky is all the Republican chairs get together at this conference, and if Bruce Blakeman gets over 75% of their support, that means he's automatically the candidate. But that would also mean that a Larry Sharp just has to go out and take out petitions and get enough signatures to be on the ballot, and then there is a good old-fashioned primary like you're familiar with. Now, some candidates at that point will say, well, it's not worth it. I didn't have the support. I don't want to go through all the work. Larry Sharp could be one of those instances where he will go out and do the work, and he has very loyal supporters where we could see a Republican primary here in New York State. For too long, Larry Sharp said, New Yorkers have been trapped between one-party rule and fake opposition. We pay the highest taxes, lose our kids to outmigration, and get told to accept decline as normal. I'm running to break that cycle and stop the bleeding. Sharp said the move is aimed at both sides of what he calls a broken system. Among the things Sharp said are features of that broken system are soaring costs of living, a complete lack of accountability, and a collapse of trust in government. Additionally, he said his campaign seeks to uproot the Republican establishment, which, quote, continues to put forward candidates who are not built to win statewide, but merely to lose politely. Pretty good line. Not going to deny that. The Republican Party, and you can make the argument, this is no way, shape, or form any kind of endorsement for anything. I'm just saying, to Larry Sharp's point, the Republican Party in New York has a long, storied history of losing. And yet, they still continue, not in like Steuben County, places like that, but I'm saying overall, statewide, obviously. So it's always interesting to me to see some of these kind of power brokers, these lead guys say, this is the only way we can win. This is the only thing we do. If you look at a Bruce Blakeman, it was interesting. It was kind of the Nassau County party player, or big wigs in the party, that wanted him, and it cost a run by Elise Stefanik. So will there be, and I think this is a fair question to ask, if Larry Sharp gets on the ballot, will there be protest votes for him over the way Bruce Blakeman handled the Stefanik scenario? Now, this is way off in the future, but we have these political mind games on the program sometimes. Do you think, because again, Larry Sharp did, I can't say well, I mean, I'm talking like 1 or 2% vote, but for what he was as a libertarian candidate at the time, he really did play spoiler in some way. So in this instance, will it be an example of a spoiler in a primary more than in a general? This will be somewhat interesting to watch. Sharp argues that Republican frontrunner Bruce Blakeman exemplifies this failure of the Republicans in New York. A locally known official with no statewide campaign infrastructure, no independent base, and policy positions that alienate Democrats, independents, and core Republican voters. You cannot win New York by writing off most of New York, Sharp said. Now, additional platform items included creating a state sovereign wealth fund, rebuilding infrastructure without endless debt and tax hikes, pardoning nonviolent gun possession offenses, to reopen a debate on the Second Amendment, embracing locally owned nuclear power to stabilize energy costs and prepare for the economic impacts of AI, expanding adoption and surrogacy to reduce abortions without government coercion, and making rent to own the norm to restore home ownership. In his previous statewide campaigns, his voter base, this meaning Larry Sharp, consistently broke down to roughly 40% Republican, 30% independent, and 30% Democrat. Now, that may sound impressive, but you've got to remember those are the percentage of what is a very small amount of votes. Sharp said he's different from career politicians in that he campaigns full-time, travels the state relentlessly, and reaches voters through modern media channels typically ignored by current politicians. Sharp's campaign said he is polling near 8% statewide even before entering the Republican primary. Sharp is also requesting non-Republican voters to switch their party affiliation by the February 14th deadline so that they can vote for him in the primary this spring. So he is ready for a primary, and that could be interesting. Maybe a little bit of a punishment there for Bruce Blakeman, because we kept saying that he was kind of being rewarded for bad behavior in a way when he ousted Stefanik by staying in and then making him the #1 candidate. Now, do I think Larry Sharp's going to get a lot of traction? No. I don't think you're going to hear a lot in the media on him. But the fact that it was reported that he is no longer going to run as a libertarian, but run as a Republican is just kind of interesting news to all of us. All right, we got to take a short break. Well, I shouldn't say interesting news to all of us. Some of you probably aren't that interested, but I am. All right, we're going to read some of your comments a little bit later on, but coming up next, we're going to hear from Drumline Live, which is coming to the Clements Center February 11th. Don't miss this interview coming up next after this quick commercial break.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
From exceptional member service to easy, reliable, and secure digital banking and a deep commitment to the communities we call home. First Heritage is proud to be part of our members' everyday lives. That's why we're honored to be named Best Credit Union in the Twin Tiers 5 years in a row and Best Locally Owned Business in 2025. To our members, thank you for your trust, your loyalty, and your votes. And if you're not yet a member, visit fhfcu.org or stop by your local branch and see for yourself what makes First Heritage the best.
More cars, lower prices. Simmons Rockwell. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at a Simmons Rockwell location near you, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.
Foster's, your destination for both essential classics and new sensory journeys. Looking for something smooth and velvety, or long and satisfying? With a savory, spicy finish, with originally recognized bourbon section. Let us be your guide. Foster's, elevate your spirits.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today, that's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow, turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that virtual studio this morning, we're talking Drumline Live. Good morning.
Good morning.
I need one of those hooded sweatshirts.
Yes, you do. You got to come and get it from the show.
Perfect. All right. I like it already. So tell us, we've seen the ads for it. Tell us a little bit about what Drumline Live is like in person.
Oh, it's riveting. It's so moving, and it's a lot of energy. So what you're going to see is, if you've ever witnessed the HBCU marching band halftime show, then we put it on we've said lights, camera, action, and put it on stage. And so we've extended it from 12 minutes to about 2 hours.
Whoa. So how do you fit that all on stage? I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces with this, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so unique. You don't see anything like this on stage. Yeah. So how do we fit it all on stage? We just make it happen.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's one way to do it. How much work goes into something like this? How many people are in the cast specifically?
So we have about 30 people on stage, and how much work goes into it. Some of them have started from the age of 2, and then I think the rest of everybody probably started playing instruments in about grade school. Okay. And so they've worked their ways all the way up till now, and we're still working. And then we have our own pre-production, of course, for our specific show. And yeah, so it's long days, hard work, early mornings and late nights sometimes.
And it's almost like you're on tour with, well, you are a band, but tour with a band when you think of like rock stars, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A different town every night. I just don't, I mean, I love the Clements Center. I don't know how you fit it all on the stage. That is wonderful. It's going to be so much fun. Do you practice every day?
Not every day, but on the way to the shows, yeah, we absolutely practice. Of course, we have our own pre-production where we rehearse our show, but then we give people a little break every now and then, because the practice can be a little excruciating sometimes.
I could imagine after putting on a live performance like that. That must be draining anyway. With a show that you put on,
they're absolutely conditioned to do this.
Really?
That's what makes the HBCU marching band so unique.
Yeah.
They do this stuff on the field, outside in 90-degree, 100-degree weather with these full band uniforms on. So doing it on stage is kind of like a little bit of a relief.
Wow. How long have each of you been a part of it?
Oh my goodness. I've been here 8 years.
I've been here just about almost 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
This is my second year doing it.
What is your favorite part about being a part of it? Each of you, if you don't mind me asking.
Honestly, meeting new people, stepping outside of my comfort zone, going to different cities, the food of different cities as well. I'm a foodie.
I love travel as well. My favorite part has to be being around such excellent Black musicians and entertainers. Some of the best in the world, actually, that we have on our cast, and I really love being around that. It's really humbling to be a part of that in some way. So that's my favorite part.
I think my favorite part is actually a piece of the show. I'm just going to say it starts in the second act, so make sure you're seated right after intermission, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow, right away you'll know exactly what it is. But that's got to be great. Like you said, touring with musicians that are wonderful. What's it like? I assume on a bus, a van. How does it? I don't even know how you travel around with that many people.
Yeah, both. By air and by bus.
Yeah. So is there a lot of music going on at all times?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. These are musicians. And people never stop singing. They never stop listening to music. They never stop playing and beating on drums and air drums and seats and whatever else we can find. And as you can see, this lovely instrument here.
Yes.
They never stop playing.
No. Are you going to play some right now? I see you over there like warming up.
I can.
Yeah, of course.
This is Mr. Elijah Travis, by the way.
Thank you. I think it was so loud it like blew out the mic. It looked great, but I think Zoom said we can't do it. We can't handle that much amazing music.
Oh, so once again, that's just an incentive to buy the tickets to come see the show.
Exactly. You're keeping people hooked. I don't think you were playing from the beginning. You just wanted to get people hooked to buy tickets.
That was our plan all along.
I love it. That's promotions 101 right there. Okay. When people are headed to the Clemens Center, what should they know maybe about the history of Drumline Live? I mean, we see the posters, we see the commercials. It looks like a blast, but there's a history behind it too.
Oh my goodness, yes. So what you should know is that there was a movie that started about 23 years ago that was released, and it was really big in the HBCU marching band culture by putting us on a major platform because it's really a Southern thing for the most part. And we have taken an adaptation of the HBCU marching band culture and put it on stage. So you can expect something else you should know is the band that you saw behind Beyonce at Coachella in 2018, that was Drumline Live. Wow. So you should know those things, and you should come expecting great, great music.
Can I also tell you how depressing it is that that's 23 years old, that movie?
Do you remember it?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, that was a hit when it came out.
Yes, it was.
Wow. It doesn't seem like 23 years ago. Wow. Okay. Who is, when we talk about different plays and different things that the Clemens Center brings in, who would you say this Drumline Live, February 11th, who is this for?
Well, this is for everybody. Yeah. So we actually started the music. There's music from 1935 in here. So you can bring great grandma, you can bring grandma, you can bring your dad. We have some Motown in here, and then we have something for the very, very, very young people. In fact, we're doing an 11 a.m. student show alone just for the students on February 11th. Anyway, so yeah, this is literally for everybody. We're not just saying that. The music spans all those decades up until now.
I love and I know the Clemens Center has done this so many times in the past, but I love how you get involved with the students to give them the love, not just of the music in this case, but just the love of live performances like that.
Mm-hmm. It's irreplaceable.
So what is it like from your perspective when you look out in the crowd? What does the crowd normally look like on a typical day?
Oh my goodness, what is it like?
Are they celebrating? Are they dancing along, or are they just taking it all in?
They're definitely on their feet.
Yeah.
They're enjoying themselves. They really, really, really. It's like a ooh.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's different emotions.
Yes.
Crying, yelling. It just varies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How
and the students are very loud.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. How long does it take you, I guess for lack of a better term, to come down after a performance? Because you must be on such like an adrenaline high.
How long does it take to come down?
Yeah.
Till the next show.
To the next show. That's a perfect answer. That's great. So you have made this sound so much fun. I think people they're going to be embarrassed if they don't attend, because all their friends are going to be talking about it.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yes, because think about it. You go into work the next day and everybody's talking about the great performance they saw on February 11th at the Clemens Center, and you have nothing else to talk about. What are you going to talk about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The greatest show on stage, by the way.
It sounds, and let me tell you, you guys have done a great job selling it, but the commercial does as well. You can find out more at clementcenter.org, as you see on the bottom of the screen. So before we go, what would you say to people that have never witnessed, maybe never saw the movie, never saw any of the tours, anything like that? What would you say to them about Drumline Live?
Buckle your seatbelts.
Simple.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Get your tickets and buckle your seatbelts. You're in for an amazing ride.
It sounds it.
Enjoy the culture.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't even think of this. It just popped in my head, even though I said that was kind of our last question. When they leave, you mentioned the hooded sweatshirts. Can they buy music and things like that after?
Not music, but we do have a few things that
like that. Okay.
You know, a little memorabilia for you.
We have T-shirts, hoodies,
yes.
drumsticks,
Yeah.
headband, towels.
Yeah.
You gotta get there.
You gotta get there. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I don't have to wish you best of luck. You guys are masters at this. You're pros. But I hope you enjoy your time in Elmira.
Yes, likewise.
Yes, everybody, buy your tickets. clementcenter.org. Get them today. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Seven reasons to buy certified pre-owned vehicles at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
3 months or 3,000-mile maximum care coverage.
Carfax Vehicle History Report.
Car rental allowance. 24-hour roadside assistance.
125-point vehicle inspection.
3-month Sirius XM radio.
Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
When you're on, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer. Create with the 3D printer. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to your local library today.
At Quill, what matters most is that our customers, our communities, and our heroes are taken care of. We start by providing American-made gasoline, which means you can buy local, keeping America and your communities strong. We also support vital charities every year and hold Operation Give Thanks each November to help provide a better future for our veterans and their families. We're proud to support the communities we live and work in, and we're doing our best every day to make our towns a better place. Quick though, driving America.
Did you know CancerGuard can help screen for multiple cancers?
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
New CancerGuard from the makers of Cologuard.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We got a lot of viewer comments. How much fun was it talking with 3 of the very large cast from Drumline Live at the Clements Center coming up on February 11th? That makes you want to go see the show. That was a blast. And yes, Zoom is set up that way as to not like harm your ears or to hurt the equipment. So and I realized that as soon as he hit that first note on the saxophone, that was not going to come through, which is a shame because it sounded good from the first note. All right, let's go through some viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. I want to remind America to watch Charlie Kirk's alternative halftime show on Sunday rather than the guaranteed disgusting show they are planning. I would love to see the phones on watching it while they're at the game. It'll be hilarious. Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Stay warm. Thank you. Yes, everybody stay warm out there. You too, to that viewer. because it's going to be a brutal one. Comment from a different viewer. Who's better, Bruce or Larry? Is Larry a Republican supporter? Do you think he would support Trump, etc.? Well, we'll learn. We know more, and this is in reference to Bruce Blakeman and now Larry Sharp declaring that he is going to run for governor on the Republican ticket, so there will be a primary. I guess one of the problems you could say about Larry Sharp is that he's ran so many times. I don't know what kind of fundraising apparatus he has to run a viable primary candidacy, but also in the past he was a libertarian. Now he's switching to Republican. I would say look him up yourself. He's been very vocal throughout his whole history. I believe he has, maybe still currently does have a radio show, so he does not hide who he is. I think Bruce Blakeman will receive the nod from the Republican committee at the convention. But that does not say that, according to what Larry's saying, there is going to be a primary. So I'll let you be the judge of that because we don't endorse. So I'm not going to say whether Bruce or Larry's better. Time will tell, and we'll try to have both of them on the program at some point before the primary. How's that? All right, Ken writes in, there were a few new points carrying violations that you didn't have on the list. And this is in reference to the new points changes from the DMV. Equipment violation, like a broken taillight, is 1 point. Wow. Obstructing traffic, 2 points. Here we go. Illegal U-turn, 2 points. They can rack up points all day here on Market Street. Illegal U-turn, 2 points. And the duration that a point stays on your license went from 18 months to 24 months. That one would have been very bad for me in the 70s when I was running around with my Camaro. I can only imagine. Thank you very much. A comment from a different viewer. I'm older than Schumer, and I voted since I was 18, and I've had to show my ID every year. Thinking it's not fair to show your ID. He just wants all the illegals to be able to vote. That was a call. Thank you very much for calling in. Comment from a different viewer. Nice to see Foster's commercial during Frankly Speaking. Thank you very much. That's nice. Yeah, we love having him on the air. Oh, this is so nice. Drumline. Fun interview. I was really looking forward to hearing him play. Love the sexy phone. I just invented that term. Instead of saxophone, the sexy phone. I like that. Yeah, I know. I wanted to hear it too. It looked like he was so excited to play too, like the whole time, that I was disappointed. But having that saxophone right into a computer mic, that was bound to go silent. But boy, they make that show sound fun. I'm sure it is fun. I don't know how. I know I sounded stunned, but how do you get 30 plus people on the Clemens Center stage? I know they have big casts. I'm just saying, in a drumline scenario, I think it's going to be fun. And if you're planning on going, let me know. I'd love to hear how it went. Just like we had great reviews for the Clemens Center's Good Witch, Bad Witch last night from some that watched our interview last week. So thank you for those nice comments. And how about this? How nice is this? Frank, just passing on, you do such a great job, look, I'm paraphrasing, great job with interviews, with shows, both local productions and those coming to our area like Drumline. Nobody promotes better. Well, in that night, look at all these kind words on a Friday. Everybody's in a good mood on this Friday. We do have a comment from Rick. I didn't get a chance to read it all, Rick. We will read that in the next segment. We're talking about New York State issues. There is some pushback because Governor Hochul, as she enters into the Democrat convention, she received a lot of New York endorsements, New York House endorsements. People are upset that AOC went against Lieutenant Governor Delgado, that she endorsed Hochul. Also endorsing Hochul is Tom Suozzi, the representative who's a Democrat that sometimes tries to play the moderate card. Now, Ocasio-Cortez did not make a primary endorsement in 2022, but essentially she did this time. The blanket endorsement reflects the rising political strength of Ms. Hochul, who is expected to receive the state party's endorsement at the convention over her rival, Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. The 19 congressional Democrats said in a statement to the New York Times, as the Trump administration and MAGA Republicans sow chaos, division, and dysfunction in Washington, Governor Hochul is unifying our party and leading the fight to protect New Yorkers and deliver real progress. That's why we're proud to stand behind her re-election campaign and why we are committed to working alongside her to take back the House in 2026. And now that's another real problem. when it comes for Republicans taking back the House. You're seeing a scenario, number one, depending on what happens with that judge's decision, where you could lose a Republican seat, the only Republican seat that has parts of New York City in it, because kind of an activist type judge, someone who's been very politically active, decided that was not constitutional. That district, even though it had been that way for decades, and that Hochul approved it. Anyway. But you also have the campaign power of, like we saw with Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin ultimately didn't win for governor, but he was such a powerful campaigner that many people give him credit for, I think it was flipping about 3, maybe 4 seats to Republicans in New York. Will we have that this time with the kind of I'm just being honest here, a lack of excitement from the campaign of Bruce Blakeman and Larry Sharpe being kind of a different type candidate? Because right now, even with Larry Sharpe's announcement, you've got to look at Bruce Blakeman as the front runner. Primaries are going to cause some division there, some costs and things like that. But at the end of the day, Bruce Blakeman is still the favorite. Now, if Mike Lawler were to jump in at the last second, of course, Elise Stefanik's not going to. Lawler's probably not going to either. That could change the trajectory at the convention. But I've heard not even rumors of that. So will Blakeman, who does not seem to have a lot of excitement behind him outside of Nassau County, how does that play out when we talk about House seats? It's probably, if I'm being truthful, I don't like making predictions, but if we're being truthful, which I always am, it could very much cost Lawler his seat. That is a very kind of bluish seat that he won off the back of Lee Zeldin's campaigning and his own hard campaigning. But this go around, it could be tough, and a lot of the blame will be put on the gubernatorial candidate. Now, when we return, Zohran Mamdani did endorse Kathy Hochul by sending a op-ed to The Nation, the far-left outlet. We'll tell you about what he had to say and what the Democrat Socialists of America are saying about his endorsement. By the way, I know a couple people have sent me this article. If you go to Empire Report, there's a piece called Electric Shock. Soaring energy prices are the result of misguided government policy. And it's time for a course correction, and that piggybacks off of a great piece from Fox News talking about the Arctic blast, and now it's fueling scrutiny over Biden's $8 billion electric bus push as watchdogs cite oversight failures. We're dealing with this in New York. E-buses have been purchased by transit agencies in part through a low-no emissions grant program, mainly through the federal administration that received $1.6 billion, not holding up to this type of weather as well. So we can talk about that, but I got to tell you about Zohran Mamdani when we return. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Everyone knows William Attar. Everyone knows James Cook. But what you probably don't know is that they bonded when Bill suggested to let James cook.
Delicious.
And James said they should just share the number 4.
Nice.
Now they're teaming up to raise money for Build Promise.
Get this t-shirt at buildpromise.com.
For a limited time, if you purchase this t-shirt, a portion of the proceeds go to Build Promise.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today. That's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow. Turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning to
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Good morning, Rick. I see Father Don, meaning the President of the United States, Donald Trump, went to the National Day of Prayer breakfast. Was he invited or did he just barge in? Yes, the President of the United States was invited to the National day of prayer breakfast. I can't imagine anyone that would invite a person who has been such a rotten human. Trump continues to live a life that is so far removed from being a believer and a Christian. It's always, I know the Bible always tells you to judge, right? I can't believe anyone would want him to speak at a National Day of Prayer event. When I changed the channel and saw him standing there, and the caption on the bottom of the screen that said, I shook my head and said out loud, "You got to be kidding me," and he turned the channel. Rick continues, I did catch a news clip later in that day. Trump said something to the effect that he can't believe a person of faith would vote for a Democrat. I'd like to offer up a response to that comment. Pick up a mirror and look at it, Donald, and that will answer your question. All I got. All right, enjoy the weekend. Thanks, Rick. Zohran Mamdani released an op-ed saying why he's endorsing Kathy Hochul. The era of empty promises ends. That's the vision that drove our mayoral campaign. Oh, good, he made it about himself right off the jump. It's the foundation of my administration. It's also what Governor Hochul said as we celebrated an agreement to deliver universal health care, one of the largest expansions of the social safety net in our city's history. It is as consequential a policy victory as our movement has been in quite some time. And I'm not going to read his 2-page piece here. But he said, the governor and I do not agree on everything. So you've got one of these endorsements, but obviously not going full-throated. We have real differences, particularly when it comes to taxation of the wealthiest, at a moment defined by profound income inequality. I continue to believe that the wealthiest among us can afford to pay just a little bit more. It's always just a little bit more. Ask California, who threatened that tax, and what was it, 1.5 trillion or something crazy left the state. But for too long, our politics has been defined by a familiar cycle. Big promises, bitter fights, and little tangible progress. This stagnation has taken a toll. People are struggling to afford childcare, housing, and public transit. They are tired of being told to wait while they are crushed by an affordability crisis that drives out the very people who built the city, et cetera, et cetera. New Yorkers deserve leaders who believe in transformation, said Zohran Mamdani. Leaders who understand that hope is inspired by a vision and sustained by change. Governor Hochul has earned my endorsement because she has chosen to govern in that spirit, and in this moment, that choice matters. Now, socialists are not thrilled, Democrat Socialists of America are not thrilled with Mamdani's endorsement. One saying, even Zohran gets it wrong sometimes. Okay? State Senator Jabari Breezeport became the first of the state legislature's DSA contingent to endorse in the gubernatorial race when he announced his support for Antonio Delgado. And a lot of people on the far left are going for Delgado. That's why people are upset at Zohran and people are upset at AOC. Despite his closeness to Mamdani, he said the mayor didn't make the right move by backing Hochul. Even Zohran gets it wrong sometimes, said Jabari Breezeport. Assembly member Emily Gallagher, who became the second socialist in office to endorse Delgado, went further, saying the movement put our faith in Zohran. Faith is about leaping without a net. She also expressed concerns about Hochul's track record and values. Our movement's faith is being tested, and soon we will be learning what happens. Hard to say what the lessons will be. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. An hour after sending that statement, Gallagher asked City and State not to use her original comments, saying she was upset initially and said something she doesn't actually think after a few conversations. She did not elaborate on whom she spoke to nor what kinds of discussions led to her change of opinion. So they published it anyway, but it was not what was true to her heart. In a new statement, Gallagher said he's the executive and we knew it would be complicated as he pivots from legislature to executive. We put our faith in him as a legislator. Our job is to fight tooth and nail for the exact policies and funding that our districts demand. Anyway, you get the idea. All right, we got to take a short break, wrap up today's edition, so get your comments in before we move off into the sunset.
Ferrari Auto Team! The best hockey rink?
Ask Google. The best jewelry store? Ask Google.
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google. We did. Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Check out the new Rams with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty during Ram Truck Month.
Visit Ferrario in Elmira or at Ferrario.com.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you can throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for checking in. 28 today. That's below average by almost 10 degrees. We're going to see some snow develop later today as well, and some minor accumulations overnight into Saturday. Temperatures, of course, will be chilling down as well. But here's the snowfall potential. Right around an inch in Elmira Corning. Better chance of 2-3 inches northeast near Ithaca. The winds pick up tomorrow. Turns colder, 6 for the high. Waking up Sunday morning to
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. A couple comments from viewers. Even though earlier I wrote that at least Rick is seeking out a balanced truth regarding politics, it's still hard to like him given his limited knowledge of complete and fairly balanced political truths. Keep seeking out political reality, Rick. The truth will set you free. Comment from a different viewer. I hope taxes from upstate New York won't get stuck. Oh, yeah, the taxes from upstate New York absolutely will be going to Zohran Mamdani's promises and ideology, the socialist, communist ideology. Absolutely. We're going to see that with the child care. Comment from a different viewer. New bumper sticker idea. Oh, Jack, the bumper sticker guy. New bumper sticker idea. Frankly speaking, news done right. Thank you, Jack. All right. Oh, Mark writes in, I don't believe either male running for governor has a chance. Stefanik did. Have a great weekend. There you go. So, yeah, neither Republicans really, and I know a lot of people say don't be jaded like that, but that seems to be the mindset of many in the Republican Party right now. 4 things to watch at the Democrat convention. Does Delgado get to that 25%? State Democrat Committee Chair Jay Jacobs said, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come close, if not get it. He certainly hasn't been doing the job of lieutenant governor, so he's had time to call all the state committee members. We've been doing our work too, so we'll have to see. That's not fair. Hochul took away his, let's see what I got on the brain, took away his powers. Delgado said in a statement that he's working to get 25%, if not, ready to hit the ground running with petitioning. So he'll petition, much like Larry Sharp on the Republican side said he's willing to petition. Do any DiNapoli challengers get 25%? Because if you're not familiar, there are quite a few challengers against incumbent comptroller Tom DiNapoli. The question is what Brooklyn will do, because Brooklyn unendorsed Hochul after she made her pick for lieutenant governor. And will there be a dust-up at the convention over ICE? Okay, that's a fair question, I suppose. Also, since we mentioned AOC earlier, she was touting money that was received in her New York City district, $14 million for projects in her New York district included in a funding bill. She was touting this, bragging about it. It was a funding bill she voted against and announced plans to coordinate legal observers training for wannabe anti-ICE activists at a Queens town hall. I did not vote for this. I voted no, said of the recently passed $1.2 trillion government spending bill. I think we need to shut them down right now, right away. About ICE, you get the idea. All right. Oh, to that one viewer's comment, Mamdani's free-for-all, including illegals, will only end in bills for all taxpayers in New York. He wants to penalize the wealthy and redistribute their wealth, but his agenda won't stop at taxing the rich. Even his new tenant advocate, C. Weaver, has villainized the middle class, railing against home ownership. Yes, a warmth of collectivism comes from the DSA-led government's sweaty hands slipping into your wallet to make it all happen and take all they want, because somebody has to pay for all of the free stuff. That is it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you to our guests from Drumline Live, coming to the Comment Center on February 11th, and all of our guests this week. Kids going to San Giovanni Valderno, the Rockwood Museum, Drumline. We had a fun week. And Phil Pomsano. So join us every weekday morning starting at 6 for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV Big Fox. We will see you after weekend, bright and early, starting at 6 out of time. Have a great weekend, folks. Enjoy the big game.
Don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tubs and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Did you know CancerGuard can help screen for multiple cancers?
Good to know.
It's one simple blood test.
Good to know.
Nearly 70% of cancers diagnosed have had no routine screening. Until now.
Wait, what?
CancerGuard helps detect over 50 cancers, like pancreatic, ovarian, and lung, even before symptoms appear.
That really is good to know.
New CancerGuard from the makers of Cologuard. Knowing means everything.